If you make me solve the problem, it'll cost you money. This happened a while back, actually before Edit was even thought of and no one had their own portable phone. A local business, auto repair shop, changed their phone number for some reason, and a few months later when my family added a second phone line to the house, guess which number we were given? It wasn't that much of a pain since most of the customer base had the new number, but about 6 months later, we start getting calls for this business several times a day, so I finally ask one of the callers where he got the number from. He tells me it's on top of the business's building in 3-foot-high letters. Really? So I drive by that way the next day and sure enough, there it is in big blue letters. I look up the current number when I get home and give them a call. Hey. I've noticed that you still have your old number on top of your building and we've been getting a lot of your calls. Would it be possible for someone to correct the sign or just paint over it? This is where I get told that's it's my problem, and they don't have the time to deal with it. Click. Oh, okay. Now I see. So I figure it won't take long to sort this out. I start taking appointments. I tell a lady we're having a special on tires. I can get her a complete set for $75, $200 was average. I get a guy that needs a complete rebuild on his transmission, and how soon can we do it? I tell him that since we aren't very busy right now, if he can get it in the shop by noon. I have a guy that can have it done by 6 p.m. the same day, and it'll only cost him $750, super cheap by the way. I do this maybe 20 to 30 times over the course of a week or so. The calls become less frequent, and as I drive by the following week, I noticed that the sign is now just plain white. I'm pretty sure that all in all I probably cost this guy about $10,000 or so in pissed off customers who showed up thinking they had an appointment and a great deal. Edit, lot of people giving me heat in the comments. To be fair, I was 15 at the time and didn't really think far enough ahead considering the customers. I was just fed up with the arsehole owner and figured if he had a bunch of pissed off customers on his doorstep it might get his attention since asking nicely didn't work. Yeah, it was kind of a dick move. But sometimes you don't think about every angle. Now to the comments. I had this happen to me too, except it was a woman who kept giving out old business cards. I kept getting her calls for several years and most of the time I just told the callers to let her know to stop giving out those goddamned cards. But one time, it was a guy trying to set up an interview with her. I let him know how she had been too lazy to update her business card and recommended he hire me instead. I almost got the interview, but sadly I wasn't qualified. I'd like to think that I cost her a job though. Suck it, Monica. My old number in NJ was apparently also the number for an RV repair place. I got a call from an elderly couple once in Michigan. They were stranded at a diner and needed a tow somewhere. They were in a panic. I got off the phone with them and started looking around for places near them. This was like 2008. Ended up getting in touch with a heavier duty tow truck company who would be able to pick them up. That took AAA, and called them back at the diner. I got a call a week later from their daughter, thanking me for helping them out. That is amazing. You are a good person for helping them out like that. Thanks for being a good human. My friend kept on getting emails from a doctor's office for Linda about her upcoming appointments. After telling them multiple times that it was the wrong email address, he started to cancel those appointments. That fixed it really quick. You just reminded me that I was getting emails for a psychiatrist for a while. It was a conversation between a mother and the doctor, and one point she was talking about the kid threatening suicide. I replied to that mail telling her for the third time that she had the wrong email address, and it stopped finally. Reply all and include the medical board with a HIPAA complaint. My grandpa had a phone number similar to a local bar. He'd get a lot of missed dials for the bar. One day a witchy lady called and said, "Let me talk to Steve." He said, "Steve? Oh yeah, he left with Mary about 30 minutes ago." He what? Click. Poor Steve. This one's funny. Steve must have gotten ducked. But man, what a good way to turn that call around. I've had something similar happen myself. Here's the copy/pasta from when I posted this story about a year ago. This reminds me of a time back in the ancient 80s when somewhere there was an ad for a ski report that contained a misprint of the phone number, using mine by mistake. My phone started blowing up early every morning with people calling to find out what the conditions were on the slopes in western Washington. I was working a job that required me to be in by 4:30 a.m., so I was long gone when the calls would start. But I'd come home to a metric shit ton of messages on my machine. Didn't take long for someone to leave a message letting me know what was going on. Unfortunately, there was little to be done because this was long before an update to a website could resolve the issue. The ads were printed and distributed for the season. At first I tried leaving a message telling callers they had the wrong number, but it was to no avail. Apparently, there's no shortage of dumbasses who simply don't listen to the outgoing message. So I came home to message after message of people asking for the ski report. The best ones were when the callers were testy, or when they called back all pissed off. Yes. They sat through the message multiple times without absorbing it. So I started recording a new ski report for my outgoing message every night. It would range from blizzard conditions to OMG, the snow all melted last night, to explosive volcanic activity has turned all runs into double diamond runs requiring skiers to dodge falling debris. It was a blast. Sometimes I get messages of people complaining that they needed the real report. Other times a simple Jesus. Before they hung up. The best was when someone from the Stevens Pass Resort started leaving me messages, telling me to stop what I was doing. He started getting more upset, and threatening to take action against me. My friends started coming by on a pretty regular basis to hear the messages. It was usually a good 30 to 45 minutes of laughs. Funny thing is, they seemed to have fixed it for the next season. I am low-key upset that people who did not listen to the message explaining the wrong number did listen to a ski report involving volcanic debris. It's nuts. How do you not listen to the message when you're calling for something like a ski report? Wouldn't it make sense to expect the message to contain information relevant to the day's report? Apparently not, for many people. I often wonder how they managed to find the dang mountain. When my parents added a second line, back in the early to mid-90s, I started getting all sorts of calls for this one particular person. Saying he didn't live there didn't stop them. So eventually I just acted shocked when they asked for him, saying "Didn't you hear? He died." And acted all upset. They stopped after that. My wife got a new number. Lucky her, the number was of someone in some serious debt. The collectors were aggressive. She got tired of it after telling them many times they got the wrong number. We started asking them to hold and playing Never Gonna Give You Up on repeat. One guy lasted like 45 minutes once. I suppose at least he was being paid. Debt collectors are the worst. The only thing that seems to work is to say wrong number and hang up right away. When I have tried to explain that I don't know who they are looking for, I get stupid responses like "I don't believe you." Then I generally respond "I don't really care what you believe" and hang up. Similar thing happened to me, without the previous number owner being an asshole. Lol. We got our numbers in 2013, 2014. The next day I get a call from a very southern older man. He asks when I got my number. I tell him. Turns out, he couldn't pay his cell phone bill and they had just turned his phone off a few days ago, and they put his number, my new number, back into circulation almost immediately. He said he didn't want me to go get it changed or anything, which is good because I wasn't going to. Lol, I had already applied for several jobs with this number, but he wanted to let me know he was a pastor and that I'll probably get a heavy flood of calls at first. He said he'd be sure to give everyone at church his new number, but wanted to know if I could either give his number to people that called or if I could text him the numbers of people that call or text. It's been forever and I still get several calls a month for the pastor. I have always tried to pass along his new number. Good on you, man. This was an awesome story. This was very well played, cherry on top for going out of the way to create realistic deals too. Yeah, the quotes OP gave were good deals, but not so cheap that it would be hard to believe. I had a dentist's office keep calling my number asking for the guy who had it before me. I was working straight nights and would wake up just enough to see it wasn't my son's daycare and then let it go to voicemail. Still disrupted my sleep every time they called. They would call and leave a message, "Hello Greg, it's dentist office. Just a reminder about your appointment on such a day." So I called them back and told them this isn't Greg's number anymore. Please change your records. I'm a shift worker, please don't call. Few days later, "Hi Greg. Since you missed your appointment, we've gone ahead and rescheduled you for this other date." Called them back. Same thing. "Not his number, please change your records. He won't be showing up for the next appointment because you are not calling him." This went on. They rescheduled missed appointments 3 times. Each time I called them back after the message. Each time I got a little less nice. The thing that finally made them realize that this wasn't Greg's number was when I told them the next time I got a call from their office I would press charges for harassment. What is it with dentist offices and harassment? I've had my phone number for almost 2 years and still get messages for Bob to schedule a dentist appointment. Funny thing is, my 90-pound dog is named Bob. Maybe I should bring him in. If they're local, do it. The reaction on their faces would be great. The question then is, do you just roll with it and get all upset when they won't look at your dog's teeth?